Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Melody Llama, and today we're going to be looking at the character Piccolo from the Dragon Ball franchise. I've already done Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan in both Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super on whether or not these characters are frauds or not. For those of you, if this is your first video in the series, well, we're going to be talking about whether or not these guys are actually worthy contenders, or are they all talk, or are they as good as they seem. Wins and losses are important, obviously, but it's obviously about who you're losing to as well. If you lose to like the strongest being in the cosmos, then, I can't really say anything too negative about you because you're kind of expected to lose. So a lot of context is important. So we're going to be going over Piccolo's history, and we're going to be starting in Dragon Ball Z. I know he has to fight with Goku in the end of Dragon Ball, but we're going to be moving past that. Besides, it's the whole tournament. That's kind of long time ago. Honestly, I haven't seen Dragon Ball in forever. So we're gonna start in Dragon Ball Z. We're gonna kick it off with Raditz. Now, right off the bat, this fight is a W for Piccolo. He does get the kill on Raditz, and he gets Goku as well. Even though they did tag team Raditz, it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Raditz was set up as this major antagonist, and by this point, he's far above everyone we've seen in the franchise. So nothing too bad here. I'm not going to shit on him for Raditz. He does kind of get stunted on a little bit, but, we'll let it slide. He then kidnaps Gohan, trains him, he trains himself, and he then faces Nappa. Now, for context of Nappa, Nappa is a even stronger Raditz, essentially. Raditz pretty much glazes Nappa and Vegeta on his way out, saying that the other two Saiyans are way more ridiculous than he is. So Piccolo now has to fight this guy. Again, Piccolo doesn't do well here. In fact, he dies. So, I could sit here and say that it's a bad performance, but because, again, the context of what Nappa was, and the fact that Nappa was just collecting body after body. So, again, nothing too crazy, but I guess we'll hand this a thumbs up. It sucks that Piccolo isn't part of the battle with Vegeta. In fact, Piccolo and Vegeta never fight in the entire series. A little fun fact for you. But, again, not the worst. Now we're going to move on to the Namek Saga. Now, Piccolo by this point is brought back to life, and he absorbs Nail. Nail is considered the strongest, the strongest Namekian on that planet, and he's able to absorb him and gain his power. For context, Nail is even far more powerful than Piccolo was back in the Saiyan Saga, so he does get a sizable upgrade here. So much so that Goku and Vegeta weren't even this strong when they arrived on Namek. Frieza has a power level of something stupid in his second form. I believe it's 1,000,000. And again, for context, he died to Nappa, who had like a power level of 6,000, I believe. Maybe even 4 to 6,000, which, is kind of wild when you really think about how strong Nail made Piccolo. Piccolo then battles that second form Frieza, and this is an underrated fight, by the way. Piccolo's performance here is, again, it's not bad because it's not a performance that he should be putting in the first place because, again, Frieza is the galactic emperor of the universe. Like, he's got all the clout in the world. He's him. He's basically, space emperor, the Palpatine type deal. And Piccolo's able to fight this guy. So I have to give him credit there. Now, he doesn't do too well for too long, which is a little disappointing, but he does push Frieza to go into, his aliens form, and this grants Frieza the victory. I would say that Piccolo isn't too useful after this, so I'm not a huge fan of Piccolo's performance. He kind of shows up, throws hands a little bit, gets his ass whooped, and then it's kind of a non-factor for the rest of the arc. Now, after this point, this is really where Piccolo starts to cook a little bit, okay? So we get to the Android Saga, and I know you're thinking I'm talking about Cell in 17, but we'll get there. Let's talk about Gero first, okay? Gero here is stronger than Mecha Frieza, and Piccolo kind of puts belt to ass on Gero, which I'm surprised about. A lot of people believe that Piccolo is, like, ridiculously strong once he absorbs Kami. Hell no. Piccolo was already going crazy here and now. He beats the hat off Gero. So, really good performance there considering, he shouldn't be this strong, but he put in the work and he is. We then move on to the battle with Imperfect Cell. So now he's absorbed Kami and he battles Cell and gives Cell, the greatest entrance of all time. And Piccolo does pretty well. Cell does stand a good chance. It's not like a one-sided fight at all, and none of them really are for Piccolo, unfortunately. But Piccolo does get the intel he needs from Cell, so this is another great performance. He does very well. He tricks him into handing him intel, and then he's prepared to continue fighting. Yes, Cell gets away, but still a W. And the train of going hard doesn't stop here, because we get one of the most underrated fights in the series. It is the battle against Android 17 in the islands. This fight, these guys are going band for band on beating each other's ass. They're hitting each other so hard that their fists, you can see them coming out of the other side of their fucking stomachs. Now, win or lose, I gotta give Piccolo a good performance just for that. He doesn't really lose here either, though. He does display Hellzone Grenade, which is an awesome, awesome move. One of my top 5 favorite techniques in all of Dragon Ball. It doesn't really do much because of the Android barrier, but, you know, I also fuck with the Android barrier, so it is what it is. As far as this fight goes, you know, there's a lot of people that think 17 would have won, a lot of people think Piccolo would have won, because Piccolo has regeneration, so he would have lasted longer, or 17 has infinite stamina, so he would have lasted longer. I think it's irrelevant. I think the series is clearly trying to tell you that either none or both would have died at the end of this battle. Cell then does show up and beat the shit out of both of them. It is unfortunate that Piccolo's, like, reign of, like, being the most capable fighter doesn't last very long. But, you know, it's Cell. They're trying to hype Cell up. But it is crazy to me that Piccolo can't beat any of the Cell forms by the end of this arc, which is just sad. Speaking of sad, that's kind of how he goes out in the Buu Saga. He doesn't really have any fights per se, and he is turned into stone by Deborah early on. I understand that Deborah caught him off guard, but I don't know, it just seems out of character for Piccolo to fall for something like this. We're gonna see this again later of Piccolo falling for something stupid, but I don't know, I'm just not a fan of it. He plays a supporting player in this arc, so it is what it is. I'm not too happy with Piccolo's role here, especially since I believe in the Android Saga it was the best role he had, but here we are. As far as Dragon Ball Super is concerned, we're just going to talk about that here, since he doesn't do a whole lot there either. So, you know, it'd be pointless to make it its own video. Battle of Gods, he gets whooped alongside everybody else. I'm not going to count this as a bad performance, because he's fighting Beerus, the ultimate plot monster, who essentially is as strong as however the plot needs him to be. Yeah, Piccolo wasn't going to win this. There's the funny scene where Piccolo pulls Whis' arm and Whis tells him to let go, and it's like the most serious we've ever seen Whis even up to now. I don't know why it was aimed at Piccolo. Maybe he don't like Namekians. I don't know. But in the Resurrection of F arc, he's continuously disrespected, as he is the only person, I believe, in all of Super. I could be wrong here. From what I'm remembering, is he the only person in all of Super from the main cast to actually get killed? That kind of sucks, and it's such a lame and meaningless death as well. I didn't like this at all, and this made him look really bad. So, really, really bad start ever since he's lost to Imperfect Cell, to be honest. We then get to the Universe 6 tournament, and I wish I could tell you that this is any different, and it's not. He goes one-on-one against Frost, and Frost just got done cheating against Goku, and you'd think Piccolo, the strategist, the intelligent one, would find a way to get around this, and I think that we all kind of expected Piccolo to get the W here, because, hey, it's the Universe 6 tournament, Piccolo's here for a reason. He's surely not just here to take an L. And surprise, he's there to take an L. Frost tricks him with pretty much the same exact trick that he tricks Goku with, which is the poison in his hand. I don't understand how Piccolo fell for this, or why he thought wrapping himself around him was going to work. This was just an awful performance as well. And then he's not in the Goku Black arc, and in the Tournament of Power, he doesn't do a whole lot. He fights a bunch of bums, and is kind of the least impressive fighter out of the 4 of them when it came to him, Gohan, Purina, and Saonel, the other 2 Namekians. I thought that Piccolo was actually the weakest of the 4 of them. So unless you're a delusional Piccolo fan, because I'm a Piccolo fan, but I'm not a delusional one, then you would notice why it was pretty darn amazing when Piccolo got his buff in Dragon Ball Super Hero, because up to this point, I would say that Piccolo's undoubtedly on the fraud list. ever since the Android Saga, he has not put on a good performance at all. Not even a little bit. He's kind of been jobber status. And it's just unfortunate. So when we got Dragon Ball Super Hero, I can gladly say this is where it ends. So he gets to fight Gamma 2. I'm going to talk about both fights. The first fight, he is kind of overpowered here. But again, it's the start of the film. And Gamma 2's mysterious. We later learn that Gamma 2's a monster. He's like Goku and Vegeta level. Closer to like Goku and Vegeta in the Moro arc. Which is still just outrageously powerful. And so, of course, Gamma 2 is going to win that fight. And then that doesn't stop Piccolo from trying to face him again, to face them head on later in the film. And he does just that. He gets, potential unlocked or potential unleashed or mystic or whatever the fuck you want to call the form. And he does very, very well against Gamma 2. It's still not enough, of course, but considering who Gamma 2 is, it's insane that Piccolo's even standing a chance. And of course, this is where we get Orange Piccolo, which the design is just absolutely incredible for one. And for two, he steamrolls Gamma 2. Incredible performance. I think this is Piccolo's greatest performance, period, of all time. Right? It's the first victory that Piccolo had decisively and overpoweringly. Yes, this is Piccolo's greatest performance, and I'm glad it comes this late in the game because we have hope for Piccolo moving forward. Then the battle with Cell Max is really good too. Piccolo plays a pivotal role in the victory of that battle. He turns giant like in the old days, and he fights Cell Max, and it's just really cool to see Piccolo continuing to aid the Z Fighters, the main cast. Now, moving forward, we're going to see if that continues, and I really hope it does. That's going to do it for whether Piccolo is a fraud or not. And look, I'm going to say that, between his introduction and the Android Saga, I thought that Piccolo was a very good fighter. He's definitely not a fraud. He took L's, of course, but it didn't matter. He was still a pivotal player. He was still basically on top of the charts, really. He was like that. We then got to post-Android Saga, which was the Buu Saga, and I could forgive one arc of one character not being useful, or one character, not battling or sticking to the sidelines, or getting their ass beat. I feel like most anime characters have that one arc that they're not doing too well in, so I could handle that. But when it went to Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, Universe 6, Tournament of Power, it really felt like Piccolo's stock was just in the dirt. So if we're talking like the old videos, in Super, he's undeniably a fraud. I know it sucks to say that about Piccolo because I love Piccolo, but undeniably a fraud prior to Superhero. Now, Dragon Ball Z Piccolo, I'm gonna say overall he's not, just because he has one bad saga towards the end, he's just power crept. It doesn't really matter, But yeah, that's our video on Piccolo. Who do you guys want me to see? Who do you guys want to do next? Let me know down below. I could do Dragon Ball, Naruto, Bleach. It doesn't really matter. Just give me a name, and I'll go do some research on it. I'll go watch some shit, and we'll just jump on that character. As always, if you enjoyed what you saw today, like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Let this channel grow. We're over 500 subscribers. I want to thank you guys so much for that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm out. Bye.